This is rich, proclaims Leslie upon learning Anita is the person behind the fund she'll be inheriting. I mean, I'm coming into a fortune and it's all Dupree money? Thank you, Jesus. Leslie goes on and on about how she's going to be black royalty and enjoy life beyond the gates. She then goes on the attack, accusing Anita of being responsible for Barbara's death, since the Articulets were sisters. She says spitefully, "Does that mean I get to call you Auntie Nita?" Things get increasingly heated until, pushed past her limit, Anita hauls off and slaps Leslie. Leslie tells an arriving Vernon that his wife attacked her. She tries playing the victim card, and he ushers her to the door as Anita literally is sick to her stomach as the whole horrible mess catches up with her. Shanice is ready to start Derek's physical therapy, but he's too busy hosting a pity party for himself. All he wants to do is binge Survivor, but she's not having it. He thanks her post-therapy and asks if his condition would scare her off if they were to become more than flirty friends. She says it wouldn't scare her, adding it won't scare Ashley either. Meanwhile, Madison tells Ashley that both she and Derek will need a support system, and wouldn't you know Andre arrives just then to pull his would-be girlfriend into a hug. She's having none of it, though, and puts him on blast about having seen him make out with Danny. "Is that some new breakup technique I don't know about?" she asks. Andre reveals that he did break things off with Danny, explaining that after Ashley left, things changed between him and the model. But Ashley doesn't care. Between seeing what she saw and Derek's accident, she's come to realize the firefighter is the right man for her. Sure, the Chelsea Cat purse launch is a day away, but Kat finds time to swing by the police station to bug Jacob about busting Leslie. Weirdly enough, the topic soon shifts to Kat's love life. "Tomas is hot, the sex is not," she admits to the cop. When Kat admits she's not sure if the problem is her or Tomas, Jacob half-jokingly suggests the best way to find out might be by sleeping with another guy. He eventually convinces his cousin that these things often take time. At the same time, Tomas is once again bonding with Eva, who is struggling to figure out who she is. Kat later catches up with Chelsea, who's just had lunch with Madison, and they plan for the upcoming purse debut, which can go on now that Bill has gotten the lawsuit against them dropped. Who says money can't buy happiness? Not Leslie, who is more over the top than ever as she relishes the idea of being high, mighty, and happy. First on her to-do list, confronting Anita, who, unaware of what's going on, agrees to meet with her. Vernon wonders if his wife wants him to stick around for the fight meeting. "Since I know you have neither slept with nor fathered a child with Leslie Thomas," she quips, "there's a limit to the damage she can do." "Yeah, keep telling yourself that, ma'am." Eva tries her darndest to talk her mom out of meeting with Anita, but has anyone ever talked Leslie out of anything? Eva suggests her mom tread lightly. "Why start now?" Leslie responds, literally dancing her way out of the apartment. Arriving at the Dupree estate, Leslie sings the praises of Barbara, essentially accusing Anita of driving the forgotten Articulet to take her own life. Things get increasingly tense until Anita suggests it's time for her guest to leave. "I'm not as easy to get rid of as my mama," Leslie says. "That's right," she adds. "Barbara was my mother." The reality of the situation slowly dawns on Anita, especially after her attorney confirms Leslie's claim. Leslie brags about the money she'll be getting from her mother's fund, leaving Anita fuming. Leslie asks why Anita's so upset, given that it's not as if the money is coming out of her pocket. But Anita is the one who surprises Leslie by informing her that the money is, in fact, coming directly from Anita. Martin and Smitty are thrilled, and June crushed, when Samantha and Tyrell decide they're not interested in seeing their birth mom again. It becomes clear, however, that Samantha's having second thoughts. As June slowly absorbs the decision made by her children, she lashes out at Naomi, blaming her for the whole situation. "You did this!" she shouts, ripping up the picture of her children. "You're the one got me hoping for things that I'll never have, dreaming dreams. I wish I'd never seen their faces." Tears pouring down her face, June accuses Naomi of having ruined her life. Martin is thrilled when Smitty invites him to spend the night, even if it is on the couch. Even as Naomi is asking Jacob to track down June, She's exactly where you think she is, at Martin and Smitty's place. Despite the men trying to talk her out the door, she shouts words of encouragement to Samantha, whom she's sure is listening in. Tyrell and his sister eventually come into the room so that June can offer them words of encouragement and love. She then is ready to leave with Naomi, and for a second, it looks as if maybe the kids will give her a hug. But this show never goes exactly where you think it will, so there's no happy ending. Instead, June gives them one last look as she leaves, though the kids are embraced by their dads. Later, she asks Naomi and Jacob to help her get a job and a bed in a shelter. One day, her kids are going to need her, and she intends to be someone they can be proud of. Here are your spoilers for Beyond the Gates on Thursday, August 21st, 2025. It's time to break the news to her children. So far, it's a tiny list of people who know that Nicole filed for divorce from her husband, Ted. In Thursday's episode, Nicole has a major relationship update to tell Kat. This isn't the news that Kat was wanting to hear. No hope of reconciliation, and Kat will have to deal with the fact that her mom and dad are never, ever getting back together. Vanessa is dealing with one issue after another these days, and the next one is just a phone call away. In Thursday's episode, Vanessa meets with a new client who has lofty demands. Recently coming into a veritable fortune, Leslie Thomas is now going to be wanting a piece of the good life, and where better to start than one of the most exclusive zip codes in the DMV, Fairmont Crest? And where better to rub it in their faces and get her sweet vengeance from than her mansion in the neighborhood? Once again, the Duprees require a problem solver, a fixer. But why would Bill want to help Vernon out? In Thursday's episode, Vernon calls Bill for help, but Bill has some demands that need to be met first. Last time they spoke to each other, Vernon laid it on thick about who had the real power and that they would never call upon Bill again. He had done his last favor for the family. Yet, here we are again. Vernon needs someone to get their hands dirty, so as the Duprees can continue to present the public image of being clean and benevolent. Between Danny, Andre, and Ashley, they have made a real mess of the situation. All three are single. After Ashley lets Andre know all about what she saw that night at Andre's place between him and Danny Dupree, Andre rethinks his situationships. In Thursday's episode, Danny dishes out some conditions of her own to Andre. If he wants to continue to have his cake and eat it too, that is. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Wednesday, August 20th, indicate some bombshells on the horizon in Fairmont Crest. Eva Thomas has shocking news, while Anita Dupree clashes with Leslie Thomas. Plus, Andre Richardson is surprised by someone's reaction after he, too, makes an unexpected move. Read on to learn more about what's coming up on the CBS soap. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Wednesday, August 20th, hint that Eva will share some stunning news with Tomas Navarro. It sounds like she'll bring Tomas into the loop about learning that her mom, Leslie, is the daughter of an articulate. Fans were completely caught off guard to find out that Leslie was adopted, and that Barbara Mitchell, the fourth member of the girls group who took her life, is Leslie's real mom. This changes the game for Leslie on so many levels. What will Tomas's response be? Speaking of, Anita will learn about Leslie's news, and the two women will clash. This is interesting on so many different levels, considering Leslie stands to inherit the very trust fund that Anita set up for Barbara's family. As Leslie is the one who tore Nicole Richardson's marriage apart, this entire situation will cause a ripple effect of drama within Fairmont Crest. What happens next? Across town, Andre will learn about Derek Baldwin's accident and rush to the hospital to see him. Ashley Morgan will react to Andre's move, which will catch him completely off guard. Ashley's reaction could unravel in so many ways. Will Ashley be touched by Andre's concern over Derek? Or could she lash out at him for being there? After all, Derek was really hurt when he found out that Ashley was pursuing a romance with Andre, and the firefighter believed that Ashley and Andre had feelings for each other, while the nurse was dating him. As Derek is struggling, will Ashley believe that Andre's presence is inappropriate? Or will she see just how sensitive he can be? Martin and Smitty are already dealing with a divided home on Beyond the Gates. June's appearance in town could make that worse, While the fathers have let Tyrell and Samantha take the lead on deciding if they want to have their mother in their lives, that doesn't mean they're looking to add a third parent to the mix. June, however, may not let that stand in her way of getting closer to her kids. On Tuesday, August 19th's episode, she defied what the teens said they wanted, which was no more communication. Unable to accept that she wouldn't at least get to say goodbye to them, she barged into Martin and Smitty's home in the hopes that she'd get to talk to her children. Smitty and Martin stood firm, protecting their kids and not allowing her to see them. They only relented when Samantha and Tyrell decided to hear June out. They thought speaking to her and acknowledging her feelings would close the door on more interactions with their mother until she's ready down the line, but that might not end up being the case. Getting a second meeting with her kids lit a fire in June. She asked Jacob if there was an opening in the shelter he told her about, and he wants to seek employment. As June told Naomi, she's going to make a better life for herself, so she's prepared for when her kids need her. It was a beautiful sentiment, but the look in June's eye suggested there was more to her thinking on this than she'd give away. Meeting Naomi, being encouraged by her, gave June the space to dream. She'd angrily railed against the attorney when Samantha and Tyrell rejected her, but was buoyed after forcing her way in to see them. She could become a problem for Martin and Smitty if she continues to push her way into their lives. They're Samantha and Tyrell's parents, not June. They help them make tough decisions, work to keep them safe, explain the world to them, and support them through everything. June gave up that right so she could do right by her kids. Trying to interrupt their home now that she's getting help shouldn't be the move she makes, but it very well might be. June dreams of a better life, and it includes her children, seemingly with or without the blessing of their parents, if her behavior in their house is anything to go by. She knew the easiest way to get a word with the teens was to go through Samantha. She leaned on her daughter's penchant for eavesdropping and brought up how she'd been the monster in her life. The Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, August 21st, 2025, give viewers a glimpse into what's next for Nicole. She will reveal her relationship status with Kat. She's not the only one who's making moves in her personal life. Nicole will share a major relationship update with Kat. This news could take her in a new direction in her life. Will she finally confirm that she's divorcing Ted? How will Kat react to this news? Who will she side with? Vernon wants Bill's help, but Bill has his own conditions that need to be met before he can offer any guidance. It sounds like he's setting some ground rules. How will Vernon react? Will he be willing to accept Bill's new conditions? Bill isn't the only one who's laying down the law. Danny is setting some conditions of her own. She will lay down terms for Andre, who is still caught in the middle of this love triangle. This could cause further tension between them as they navigate their shifting expectations. Will Andre willingly go along with Danny's terms, or will he move on? Vanessa has a new client, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good thing. This new client will have lofty demands that will put her patience to the test. Will Vanessa ride it out, or will she ditch this client even if they have big money to throw around? The Beyond the Gates. Spoilers for Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, tease Anita and Leslie's showdown, which could end with a slap. Also, Eva will share a stunning revelation with Tomas. Andre rushes to the hospital after learning about Derek, but it's Ashley's reaction to seeing him that has him reeling. Things will take a tense turn in Fairmont Crest. This is the moment that fans have been waiting for. Anita and Leslie will go head-to-head, leading to the biggest clash ever. This fight could end with a slap heard around the neighborhood. Meanwhile, Eva will have a shocking revelation to share with Tomas, which could change the dynamics of their relationship. This has us wondering where their relationship is going. Is Tomas genuinely attracted to Eva, or is he using her for his career advancement? This revelation could clarify Tomas's true feelings for Eva, or reveal his hidden agenda. Andre rushes to the hospital upon learning about Derek's emergency. This puts him in the path of Ashley, which leads to an awkward encounter. Andre is caught off guard by Ashley's reaction upon seeing him. It sounds like this love triangle isn't going to end anytime soon, unless there's something that Ashley says or does that surprises Andre. Here's what went down Tuesday, August 19th, 25, on Beyond the Gates, when Barbara's ghost loomed large. Smitty held to the house rules, and Eva couldn't stop her mama from strutting her stuff. On Beyond the Gates, Martin was welcomed by Smitty at the condo. The dads opened up a dialogue with Samantha and Tyrell to get into their feelings about meeting their biological mother, but they only wanted to talk about Martin moving back in. Smitty noted that Martin was there to support the teens, assuming they wanted to see June again. Both Tyrell and Samantha considered it enough that June had said what she'd needed to say the one time. The kids didn't desire another parent and thanked Martin and Smitty for giving them the family they already had. Samantha assured them that they had no intention of leaving them to live with June. Naomi called Martin with an anxious June at her side. When Naomi asked about the kids' decision, Martin relayed that they had declined any further visits with June. Crushed to hear the news, June worried that she had done something to turn them off. Naomi also had to dash June's hope that she could have one more visit with the teens just to say goodbye. June felt that, to them, she was a reminder that she had abandoned them. June got increasingly upset and even suspected the Hawthorns would drop her off hundreds of miles away, so she couldn't find her way back to her kid's house. She exclaimed that nothing mattered and tore up her beloved picture of them, to Naomi and Jacob's shock. Naomi bore the brunt as June yelled that Naomi had ruined her life. Jacob reminded June that Naomi had saved June's life by getting her into heart surgery. "For what?" June moaned. "Children who don't want me?" Even the fact that Regina cared about her didn't soothe June, and she took off, telling Naomi and Jacob not to look for her. Jacob recommended that Naomi give June time to cool down, assuring her that June had mechanisms to help her process her disappointment. Naomi blamed herself for not only upending June's life, but the Richardson Smiths. When the lawyer became concerned that June would end up hurting herself or someone else, Jacob silently understood that Naomi wanted him to look for her. A glum Samantha was the only holdout when her loved ones wanted to hit a board game cafe. Tyrell smirked that his sister was rethinking her decision to see June. Both Martin and Smitty let Samantha know that she was free to change her mind if she wanted. Samantha was sure June's feelings must be hurt, which bothered her, but she agreed with Tyrell that June had at least gotten to see how their lives were better for her having given them away. Smitty offered for Martin to stay the night, reminding him that it was only because the kids needed him, as Tyrell and Samantha listened. After an unexpected knock at the door, Smitty told Martin they had a situation. June had stopped by unannounced. The fathers were sympathetic, but told June that she couldn't be there, based on what their kids had chosen. Though Martin offered to have June driven anywhere she wanted to go, June called out to her daughter, knowing she was probably eavesdropping, as she had always done when she was little. Martin whispered for Smitty to call Naomi, as June promised she wasn't there to break up the family. She realized that Samantha and Tyrell seeing their biomom again must have been akin to an earthquake. Assuming Samantha could hear her, June went on to say that, during their reunion, the girl had looked at her with the same fear she had when June used to come home high. She just wanted her daughter to know she wasn't going to scare her anymore, then prepared to leave. But Tyrell and Samantha lumbered downstairs, telling June to have her say and go. Naomi called Regina, asking her to be on the lookout for June. Then Jacob beeped through, having heard that June had headed to Martin and Smitty's. Jacob wanted to join Naomi there, but Naomi thought it would feel less confrontational if she went alone. June sat down with Samantha and Tyrell and assured them that, just because she had given birth to them, it didn't mean they were going to turn out like her. The grumpy Tyrell was incredulous to hear that he had gotten his math skills an edge from his mother. June wanted the teens to know that there was no addiction on either side of the family. Her descent into drugs had been her own doing. Finishing, June stood up to leave, but Samantha stopped her. "You had to be a good person to give us up," Samantha conceded, though June didn't like hearkening back on that decision. The girl reasoned it had been significant that June had kept a photo of them. June stated she didn't have it anymore because of an accident. And both Martin, Smitty, and Tyrell agreed when Samantha wanted to give June an updated picture. June knew the rapping at the door meant the arrival of Naomi and acknowledged that she had to leave, but at least she knew the kids were safe and loved, and the kids knew they had a mother who was proud of them. "Nobody has to remind you how beautiful you are," June imparted. "You just make sure they never forget how smart." Smitty and Martin wished June well. June took one last look around and followed Naomi out the door. Martin and Smitty were proud of the teens and how they'd changed their minds about allowing June to talk to them again. The siblings agreed that getting closure without anger or guilt had been beneficial. Samantha added that they would probably see June again when she was ready. Back at Orphe Jean's with Jacob and Naomi, June rocked the couple by asking if it was still possible for Jacob to find her a bed at a shelter, the offer she had refused when they'd first met. June also wanted a job, notifying the marrieds that she actually did have skills. Jacob remarked that June seemed to be planning something. Naomi became concerned when June said she wanted to be prepared for the inevitable day that her children needed her in their lives. Eva came home with coffee and found Leslie dressed up. When Leslie declared that she now resided in the land of milk and honey, Eva joked that Leslie sounded like the nouveau riche who spoke in bad English accents. Leslie remarked that the smile she couldn't wipe off her face was actually genuine, but Eva's smile faded as she learned that Leslie intended to see Anita, since, without Anita, Leslie wouldn't be coming into Barbara's money. Questioning why Leslie was in such a rush to meet with Anita, Eva felt that Leslie would be better served by getting into the details of her inheritance with the lawyers. Leslie had a document to show Anita, but she wouldn't tell Eva what it was. Ms. Thomas recounted how Peaches had raised her when Barbara hadn't wanted her, and she was grateful that Peaches had brought her to this moment. Leslie proclaimed herself reborn. Eva wasn't sure she liked the reinvention and was concerned that Anita would let Leslie have it for what she did to Nicole. Leslie crowed that, without her birth mother, Anita wouldn't be a celebrity. Eva understood that Leslie wanted Anita to teach her about Barbara, but asked her to tread carefully. "Why start now?" Leslie replied. "They are not ready for Miss Leslie," she trumpeted, telling Eva, "I finally got mine, and they are going to pay," making reference to the Duprees. At the Dupree mansion, Vernon shared Anita's disdain when La Dupree announced that Leslie was gracing them with her presence. Anita had only allowed the visit so they wouldn't be caught off guard, like they had been when Leslie ambushed them following the Richardsons' anniversary debacle. Vernon was sorry he couldn't stay and chaperone, but Anita assured her husband that she could easily handle Leslie alone. Vernon cracked that maybe Leslie wanted Anita's autograph, since, at the Articulettes concert, Leslie had been so close to greatness. Vernon let Leslie in, excusing himself, but not before he knowingly told Anita to keep things brief because they had a thing later. Once the former senator departed, Leslie purred that she had arrived and wasn't leaving for a long time. Anita was surprised to learn that Leslie was an Article-Tates fan, but was taken aback when Leslie revealed that her favorite member was Barbara. Leslie commented on Barbara's video tribute, saying that it seemed like the surviving singers all loved her, even with the bad blood that had existed for years. Anita got tired of the lead-up, prompting Leslie to fume that Anita had kicked Barbara out of the group. Because of Anita and her treatment, Barbara had killed herself. When Anita balked at the accusation, Leslie gave her an opportunity to tell Barbara's story. "You owe me that," Leslie seethed. Anita retorted that she owed Leslie nothing and wouldn't elaborate further. Leslie reaffirmed that Barbara had committed suicide because she was tired of fighting Anita, who always had to have her own way. When Anita commanded Leslie to leave, Leslie frowned that she wasn't as easy to get rid of as my mama, which stunned Anita. Leslie waited for acknowledgement from Anita that she was Barbara's daughter, but the singer was not forthcoming, at least not until after she had her attorney confirm the DNA connection. Leslie proffered her birth certificate as further proof. "I would have known if Barbara had a baby," Anita spat. "You are nothing like her." Leslie took exception, incensed that her mother would still be alive if it wasn't for Anita, while Anita countered that Barbara would have been ashamed to know Leslie, a woman who had latched onto a married man and had his child. Anita argued that Leslie had no right to even speak Barbara's name, but Leslie reiterated that being Barbara's daughter gave her that right. When Leslie listed herself the sole beneficiary of the trust Anita had established for Barbara, Anita yelled that the money was for Barbara's sister, whom Leslie reported was also dead. Anita couldn't believe that Leslie was entitled to the cash she had set aside for Barbara all those years. Last Friday on Beyond the Gates, Leslie received some life-changing news when she learned that the woman who gave birth to her was Barbara Mitchell, the fourth member of the Articulettes. Barbara, as viewers know, eventually committed suicide after being pushed out of the group by her bandmates. Speaking with TV Insider about the plot twist, Man Grant enthused that she's been looking forward to having the storyline unfold, recalling that her first reaction to the bombshell turn of events was that it would be something new and fresh and different that we can focus on, and promising, "The depth of the storyline is about to blow everyone away." Initially, Leslie was shocked to learn from her mom, Peaches, that Barbara was her birth mother. Viewers got to see a softer side of Leslie, albeit briefly, when she was told the jaw-dropping news. "Leslie actually does have a heart, believe it or not," Man Grant asserted of her alter ego, who goes on a bit of an emotional ride in the wake of the big reveal. But once Leslie took a beat to process the ramifications, including a sizable inheritance due to come her way, and learning that Barbara never divulging to Peaches who the father was, it was business as usual. She goes back to her old self, and now we're scheming and plotting all over again, Man Grant shared, teasing that in the days ahead, Leslie will be responsible for a moment where people are going to get up off the couch. "Portraying the Fairmont Crest troublemaker has been a delight," stated Man Grant, one of the breakout stars of the CBS Sudser. "I did not know she was going to turn out to be as crazy as she is, but what I loved is that they gave me room to create," she explained. And there are layers of the character still to be explored, to hear Man Grant tell it.